Welcome to Flirting with Reality. My very supportive co-host here, Carol Lee. That's the first time I've ever sang in front of everybody. The person with a beautiful voice. My name is Eric, and welcome to Flirting with Realities. And I think this is probably episode 30, is my guess.
I thought it was 33 or something.
I think we're on 30. I'm not sure. It might be 29. I don't think we're past 30. So this is it. This is number 30. This is the big one.
3-0.
This is 70 away from 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll never reach this number again.
No. This is the only time we're going to have episode 30.
Yes. This is it.
A one-time thing.
Yeah. Treat it special, right?
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what's happening in your life? What's going on? Like, what have you been up to?
Oh my God. Just so much. This morning routine I've been doing, like this morning I woke up at 4 something and did my morning routine, which...
A new morning routine, right? Newish for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, since my phone thing. So 30 days at least.
Your phone thing is
I'll explain that just in case we have a new viewer that hasn't seen our previous podcast. I'm not using my cell phone for anything other than texting. I have used YouTube to listen to meditations, but it's just, or of course, you know, to be fully transparent, I might have to go on my bank account on there, but just pretty much just don't use my cell phone.
Limited texting though too, right? It's not like you're texting all day.
Oh yeah, I don't text very much, just in life generally.
Yeah, it's like a couple times a day or something.
Yeah, so yeah, just very limited phone use. My morning routine is setting my intention for my meditation for the day and doing a kind of little gratitude session, which I've actually done both those things for a few years, but I got to a point I was kind of lazy about it and would let myself do it in like the shower or as I was doing something else, which I like just being more, I don't think it's a bad thing to do it that way, but it's nice to just be more focused about it. Yeah. So then I meditate for about 45 minutes. So the whole thing takes about an hour.
What was it before gratitude?
I set my intention for my meditation and for the day. Like maybe something I'm working on, like kindness or staying present in the moment, whatever the case, or maybe it's several things.
And what, can you explain what you do for gratitude? How does it go? Like how long do you spend?
I focus, well, takes as long as it takes. It can be 15 minutes. I focus on my heart and I start by feeling or thinking about something I'm really grateful for.
One thing?
Well, something that I know will like fill my heart up with a feeling, which I can think about my kids or I can think about you because it's a definite feeling. So I start there because I know it's just going to fill my whole entire body up with a feeling. And then, like, I deeply think about my life. And I start with, I'm grateful for, after that, I'll say I'm grateful for my journey. And I'll kind of like skim through a quick, like, I'm grateful for my mom being schizophrenic, my sister being bipolar. I'm grateful for my 20-year marriage with someone I was unhappy with. And I really think intently about how those challenges have formed who I am today. And I won't like go into to my whole gratitude session, but it's pretty thorough.
Yeah, sounds crazy.
And because I don't want to get complacent in life, and all these things have like made it possible for me to really live from a place of joy and peace. So, yeah.
It sounds super thorough. And I've started doing, well, my mornings are kind of unorganized, I guess. I've been taking care of the hydroponics just because I super enjoy that. But then I usually I do my meditation, and then I've been doing gratitude, which is backed up right behind that. And I've just been doing things, five things I'm grateful for. But like you were saying, I'm not like grateful I have shoes, grateful I have toothbrush, grateful I have,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So it kind of makes it hard because it's like lots of things I'm grateful for, but like, what do I give a pass on that gets that gratitude? I'm doing five things, which is five things every day that are significant that you don't consider small. It seems like it's hard to come up with. So
Yeah, when I first started gratitude sessions, I really had a hard time.
yeah.
But now it just, well, I have some major things that I do every day, and it pretty much just flows. But
Well, that's what I'm saying is I can come up with five things really fast, but it's
oh,
just
I thought you said you had a hard time.
no. I can come up with five things fast, but I'm so critical of what I allow to be myself to be grateful for.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So it's like I kind of put this like roadblock in front of me. It's like most things aren't important enough to put in my gratitude session, and so it like really makes me think. But like I'm already kind of getting to the point where it's like, well, how many significant things are you grateful for?
Yeah.
So I might have to change that up real quick. That's why I was asking you what you're doing. But yours sounds super thorough.
Yeah, but it's like I've been doing it like 10 years. So,
Probably easy though. Like when I'm in your life, like probably,
of course.
probably like I mean, I'm like I got a decade worth of material for anybody to be grateful for.
Sure. Exactly.
Um. So what else? You got anything else going on? That's a lot.
It is a lot, but I mean, I've got my thing that I keep doing, which is working out, and I've added stretching to
Mm-hmm.
my workout routine, which actually have, I don't I never really talk about this much, but I used to be a personal trainer, and I know to be a well-rounded, healthy athlete, you need to have flexibility training in your life. And I have avoided this. I don't really usually enjoy it, but I've been enjoying it. And yeah, so I've added that. And I still am not having coffee right now. I've switched to tea. Um, just because I like to remove things from my life at times that maybe is a little bit of an addiction, I guess.
Well, and like we are talking about on our last podcast, is when you take things away, it makes you more grateful.
For sure.
It's like my kids eat candy all the time. It's like they don't care. They just like candy. It's like my regular diet. And like
Yeah, isn't that weird?
if you or I have candy, you're like whoa, like wow, that's so sweet. Like I haven't had candy in like a month or three or whatever it turns out to be. And like it's such a more significant experience if you just don't have it all the time.
Well, I think about being a kid, and I don't know if you were this way, but candy was a treat. It wasn't like I didn't have tons of candy.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think like I've said before, I think there's a big conspiracy theory about it, but I mean, it was never like teachers never gave us food in school either.
Yeah.
I never got food.
No, I didn't.
Birthdays, I don't think were ever a thing where kids bring in cake or muffins or candy or
No, not
anything.
birthdays. I remember Valentine's cards.
you get the crunchy ass crappy candy, which sucks, which nobody.
The hearts.
But okay, but that's how desperate we were, because like you'd be like, they're gonna be like, no, like I'm not eating this Valentine's candy. You know what I mean? But you'd try because you wanted some candy so bad. But you'd eat it and it'd have like Elmer's glue on it too, you know, because it was stuck to a card. Well, you bite the half that doesn't have the glue, and then you like kind of nibble around the glue or something, you know. But that's how desperate we were, you know.
Yeah.
But in school now, I'd almost guarantee that teachers have candy they give out every single day just to get the kids to shut up and sit down and behave.
Yeah, you might be right.
Every holiday is full of candy. I mean, I don't know how we're getting on this subject.
Yeah, let's get off of
it.
So you asked me what else, and still a huge deal to me is our nightly fucking routine that I have become addicted to. Like, I severely look forward to. It's like the favorite part of my day right now.
It's such a good way. So before we did this, we were kind of, I feel like we were kind of struggling. It wasn't much of a struggle, but it was, you finish what you're doing for the day, which we would work out, do our thing, and then there's like 2 or 3 hours left in the day. What do you do? Yeah. And so there's like this struggle of, well, what are you going to do? Just sit around and talk? Like, we tried that, you know, we did that. But it's so easy just to turn on YouTube and watch something, you know, or watch a movie, and I just don't enjoy that. I don't like spending time with another person and watching TV. If I do it by myself, that's one thing. But when I'm with somebody, I have this thing where I feel like I'm wasting my life with them. Like, when I'm around people that I care about, I like to spend it with them. I like to engage with them. Like, if friends come over, I don't want to watch TV with them. I just don't.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like we had like this missing part in our nighttime schedule, and I feel like this is so perfect.
It's perfect.
We're still doing sauna for a half hour-ish at 180-ish. And then, I'm not going to lie, the cold bath, I think the cold bath has had the biggest impact on me. But it's been a little upsetting the last like 3 or 4 days because it's been around 50 degrees in there.
Yeah. Which
that used to be like, hell no, I'm not getting in 50-degree water. Like, it was painful to get in tap water. But now, you know, it was for my birthday, so it was like 2 weeks ago. We literally had ice in our cold bath. And that was so amazing.
It was.
That was so amazing. The way you would feel was so amazing. And so now that feeling's kind of gone. So I need to get like a water chiller, because but anyway, it feels amazing if I can get into the cold bath. So sauna 30 minutes and then cold bath. I'm doing like 3.5 minutes. Maybe I need to extend that, is the problem.
I extended it a little yesterday and did 3.5.
Did it do anything for you?
No.
So I did 3.5, I think, last night, and then I stood outside without drying off for like another 2.5 minutes. And I still just didn't get cold. So yeah. So anyway, we're gonna have to work on that, especially now that the weather's getting warmer. I think it's probably like 60 degrees today.
Yeah, it was pretty warm today.
So we're doing that, and then we finalize our night doing breathing meditation, which I've enjoyed. You do like breath retentions, which I think is fun. It's a little bit painful.
I really like those.
It's really painful for me. Like, I can't stand it because I'm like, come on, 3, 2, 1. You know, like holding your breath is like a really painful act.
No, it is, but I'm enjoying it for some reason.
I think it's super enjoyable. So that's our new nightly routine. But this is what I was discussing with you, is I don't think it's enough to do these things. I think the real goal is to maintain these things. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's enough if we just do sauna, cold bath, breathing for like 3 months and then we forget about it. I don't think that's enough. I think you got to hold on to these things. I think you got to keep them going. And so that's the thing, is I think we're doing a ton, you know, like I wasn't meditating, no sauna, no cold bath, no breathe. I wasn't doing anything like that like a couple months ago. And
Yeah.
so, but that's what you and I talked about is when I was building the song, we were like, can you imagine, like we've been working out for years. Can you imagine if we eat good, we work out, sauna, cold bath, and meditation? Can you imagine if we did that? Can you imagine that? And we're like, no, that'd be so crazy. And so now we're doing it, but we just got to maintain it. And it's changed our lives in so many different ways, right?
Yes.
It's like it's hard to even realize the impact that it's thrown us forwards, I think.
I feel it. I can feel it every day.
Well, but the funny thing is, so I've been doing it since like 3 days before Christmas. I'm probably on day, was this February 1st today? So 31. I'm probably like on day 38, 39 in a row. And like the first 2 to 3 weeks were so huge, such an impact. And I don't know if it's because the water is getting warmer or just because I'm getting used to it, but now it's like that momentum doesn't feel like it's there as much. So kind of waiting for that. But I think the health benefits are still there, even if you're not up front. But that's the problem that we talk about too, right? Is um, exercise is the same way. Like when you start exercising, like it's like woo, like wow, it's a runner's high.
Yeah.
And then you chase that runner's high, but you never really get that runner's high again. But you're always chasing. You're always trying to get it. So it's like you go woo way up high, and you're loving it, and then you can never kind of get back. I mean, like doing heroin, probably, or like any drug. It's like you feel so good in the beginning that you're chasing that all the time. But I think the thing is I think, like heroin, you do heroin, like you just feel like crap. You just get crappier. But I think like the sauna cold bath, you might not get that high again, but you are definitely better than you were before. And like I think if you quit the sauna and cold bath right now, I think it would be like such a throwback. It would be depressing, super depressing.
Yeah, I don't want to quit anything I'm doing right
Yeah.
now. I don't know if it's why I wake up at these wee hours in the morning because I'm like excited to go do my morning routine, which is crazy. 4 something in the morning, you're excited to go do something. Yeah, I mean, I can't see not doing anything. Like the thought of not having our nightly routine sounds depressing. Like I don't want to quit.
Well, it's not only the health benefits, but it's like I was talking about when I was building a sauna, like how nice is it just to go in a sauna and just sit and do nothing and just like talk to you?
Yeah.
Or even if you're not in there, just sit and chill without, there's no phone, there's no TV. Like sitting in a sauna is, I guess, a mental thing that you have to get through because it's hard when it's hot, but it's so relaxing at the same time. It's like, it's amazing and more people don't do it. Cold bath is not that way, but cold bath is painful. But
I have to say between that and not using my phone and there's just zero social media in my life. And I have I have never really liked social media, so I don't even really know what was going on there. I mean, I do to a degree, yeah. The reason why I have a Facebook is I had this great idea to become a personal trainer in Alaska, so I set one up to like for business purposes. And I just I am better as a human being without it. I just am.
well, I think that's the funny part too, is you quit using your phone and it just naturally rubbed off on me. And then I started paying attention and how, how much, emotionally I don't enjoy being around people on my phone. And pretty much I noticed every time I even visit Facebook, which I like to give myself the excuse of like, I'm looking at car stuff and this and that. But if I read a comment about car stuff, like, and some guy is just like saying something stupid, like, I just don't enjoy it, and I don't like the feeling, you know. And so since you started going off it, I took a deeper look, and I haven't tried to stay off social media. I've just wanted to stay away because I've realized how bad it makes me feel.
Well, I think it's just huge that you don't have your phone in the bedroom anymore.
Yeah. What?
And like how I think it's completely revolutionized your morning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm super slow in the mornings. I always have been. No motivation in the mornings. I always get going in the afternoons, and then don't want to quit. But that's something that Joe Dispenza was talking about. I don't remember his number, but he said something like 86% of everybody in the world, or maybe the United States, I don't remember what he said, has their phone, and that's the very first thing they do in the morning is grab their phone. And when he talked about it, that kind of changed everything too, because he was talking about when the very first thing you do is grab your phone, you go back into the program, which is like, what's on Facebook? Oh, well, Jimmy was talking about me on Facebook, so let's go see if he's talking any more trash. And then, stocks, I get into stocks and like, oh, stocks are doing bad. Well, that puts me back into that mindset. And then, like work, I got to go look at texts from work and see what my boss wants. Like you're just back in the program, like instantly. The very first thing you do is like everything you do is you get back where you were when you went to sleep. And that's kind of what I think what you and I are trying to do with this meditation and this, I'm getting distracted. This meditation and other things that we're doing is start your morning off. I mean, the reason I started doing the gratitude thing actually was because I saw Andrew Huberman. Ironically, I was on social media, but Andrew Huberman was saying, "Hey, this is how you should start your morning. Start off with gratitude." And I did that, and it's like just that changes your morning significantly. If you start out with thoughts of gratitude and start out with thoughts of meditation rather than thoughts of like, "What's up, Jimmy? You got something to say this morning?" On Facebook, like you start out angry, you start out with these thoughts, like just starting your morning out differently. I mean, that has changed my life. Is I don't look at my phone. I don't do anything for a couple of hours at least now when I wake up. And that's even changed too. Like I have to work. I have to work on social media. And now I'm just like, well, I'll just do it in the middle of the day so I don't affect my morning. And then I have to obsess about some crappy thing I saw on the internet in the morning all day. Now I can just obsess about it later in the day, but when my brain's more capable of dealing with it.
Well, after you've set the tone for your day,
Yeah.
you set your own tone for your day rather than being programmed by something that's telling you how your day is going to be.
Well, but that's another super interesting thing that Joe Dispenza said was he said, when you wake up, you have like this portal into your subconscious because when you're sleeping and dreaming, that's all subconscious and it's all like kind of a different part of you. And he says, so if you're still got this portal open to your subconscious and you open up that Facebook, bam, Facebook's got a direct avenue to your subconscious and it just goes right in. So like you got to give it time for that subconscious, that portal to close a little bit. And I think that's what we're talking about. Like you get control of your thoughts when you wake up and even halfway through your day. And when you're in control of those thoughts and you own those thoughts, then introduce something that you have to do. But I thought all that was completely interesting. And so, yeah, I haven't had my phone with me in the mornings. And, it's funny because it is an addiction. It's 100% an addiction. And once you break that addiction, well, I don't know. I guess people who are true addicts say that they never really don't want the addiction. But for me, like alcohol, when I quit drinking alcohol, I was like, I don't like this anymore. I don't even want it.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time we drank was, but I mean, I think we had quit for like a year and then we had some. And that was a reminder to me why. To me, it's not that enjoyable. And then it takes away like a week of your life. afterwards.
Yeah, but how many people realize that week of the life thing? You have to be kind of in tune with your body and your mind to understand that you're still messed up days later after your hangover. Like it takes a toll on you. I don't think most, if any, people realize that.
Yeah, it's just not something I want. It's a negative thing, and yeah.
But that's the thing is, if it provided something in the moment, even like it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's gonna mess up 4 or 5 days of my life, but how amazing is it in the moment? It's pretty great, right? But I just haven't been there. In fact, you know what? In my 20s, I knew that. In my 20s, I knew like when I was drinking, I didn't enjoy it that much. It's not a feeling I enjoyed. Rather had smoked weed or something. But that's what I'm saying. Like, why ever get high on weed or alcohol or these other drugs that people do when you can have like the cold bath?
This is what yeah. I have to tell you, I get higher with meditation and spiritual growth, and it's way more addicting to me than any drug I've ever had. And add the cold bath and sauna, and that's just heightened that to a degree that it's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people might listen to this and be like, "Dude, you guys are so weird." Like, I mean, to each their own. But like, I would much rather get high on a drug or whatever, or a feeling or whatever, and then the awesome part is like the cold bath keeps going for days.
It does,
and it makes you feel good for days. Alcohol, you drink. Let's say you love alcohol. In the moment, you're like, "Oh, this is amazing. I love it." Nobody's going to argue the next day that it's awesome. Nobody. It sucks.
my kids are in their 20s, and they've actually discussed this with me, how like my daughter has virtually quit drinking because she'll do it on special occasions, but she's realized that it's a shitty feeling for a few days.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it's like for the people that really enjoy it in the moment. Like I said, I remember having discussions with other people. I'm like, do you actually like getting drunk? Does this feel good to you? Because it doesn't really feel good to me.
Yeah.
But I did it. It was just part of the program, or part of the system. I was supposed to drink, I guess.
Well, I think it is part of the program. I mean, I mean, I know it was shoved in my face. Like that's what you did. You partied.
Well, there was definitely that, but I wanted the chaos. I
Yeah.
super looked after the chaos. I wanted chaos like badly. I wanted to get in trouble. I wanted just craziness, and I mean, I found it, but that's what alcohol was to me, was craziness. Like that was like, if you would ask me the goal in life in my 20s, it would have been, I want experiences. I want crazy ass experiences that bring trouble and stories. I don't know. I guess I would change that now, but I don't know. I think that's kind of what your 20s can be,
Yeah, probably.
especially as a male. I think it's just, there's a lot of things going on. Like, I don't know how funny this sounds, but like, we got our chickens, we got the rooster, and like, I kind of watch that rooster, and I'm like, he's around 10 females. He's only male. So it's not like he's influenced by the females on how to act. He's just like, natural instinct is like, the fuck out of the way, bitches. Like, that's my food. And he's like, I'm the man around here, and I run this place. And like, it's just like this instinct that he has, and he's just an animal. He's a thing. He doesn't think. But for humans, it's the same thing. Like, we are influenced by society and all this stuff, but there's just something that happens to you as a man where you're just an idiot and you're just run by testosterone, and like, you're just supposed to be this fool that just does thing, and like you're supposed to be like a warrior, you're supposed to be out like fighting and like killing and like all this crazy shit. Like, that's what,
Hunting and gathering.
yeah, that's what we should be doing. And so but you don't anymore. You just sit in a cubicle, and so like on the weekends now you got to do, you're hunting and gathering and killing, and it's like,
Yeah.
you don't have an outlet for it, you know? So I think you got to find your outlet. And I guess my outlet was crazy shit. I had a lot of stuff to get out. So I don't know. We're at 30 minutes. We had a topic that we wanted to talk about tonight. What was the topic?
I brought up resistance and letting go. And maybe not a lot of people would know what resistance is. But to me, resistance is the best explanation I have for it. And maybe you have another explanation, and some will resonate with mine and some will resonate with yours and understand either way. But I think resistance is fighting just what is naturally happening. And that could be fighting your feelings, fighting a situation. It just creates like a barrier almost, and it makes it to where you're out of balance. So, an example would be, let's say you're having emotions and you're angry about, maybe you and I got in a fight, and I'm very upset, angry, and possibly triggered. And I, rather than take time to allow you to have your feelings and me to have my emotions, that then will cause resistance. If that's a good explanation, I'm not 100% sure. But it's so allowing takes away the resistance, like just accepting things as they are. So if we were in a fight and you were telling me your feelings, rather than feeling combative and defensive, I can just accept it as it is and understand that we all have our own perspectives and feelings. This is just one example. Resistance can happen in all sorts of ways. You can have resistance with your job. You can have resistance driving down the road.
Yeah, so I think one example that we've talked about is how, for me, I've had to take a look at running a business, and the biggest thing for me is I've always had this idea that the harder I work and the more I push things, the more I get. And it's really taken me a lot of effort to be like, I can't do this anymore. It's too stressful. And so I've tried to balance stress and work, and then that's come down to me not forcing things. And then it's kind of interesting to look at it, but when you stop forcing things, things work out better. And I can't remember, but there was actually there was a turning point. What was it? There was a turning point where I was like, oh, because you've been telling me about this with my, like, I force business through basically, and I make things. I guess I try to like for like I need money, I need sales, and so I'm like turn into, well, I guess that would be a good example, right? Like, so if you go to used car lot and there's a car salesman there, and he's like, hey man, why don't you come buy this car? Why don't you come buy this car? Let's do this. Let's buy this car. This car's for you. You can, oh, all day long. Let's do this car. And you're like, dude, you need to chill. Like, I'm here to buy a car, but the more you push me, the more I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how I appeared to people. Is like, hey man, what's going on? You want to buy some parts? Let's buy some parts. Let's buy some parts. Come on, come on, come on. And people are like, whoa, like this is too much. Like I don't want to deal with this. And so I think that could cause me to lose some sales. So through forcing it, rather than if you're that used car salesman and you're like, hey man, I'm here to help. I want to do a good job. Tell me what you need. Let's get a sale. And you just chill and you just let things happen. Or there's even like I mean, there's a theory where you could be like, you know, yeah, I work here, but I'm not really interested in selling you a car. there's like a theory where the guy can be like, "What do you mean you don't want something?" I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if you deserve one of these cars. And then all of a sudden, that person could very likely be like, "Well, I want to buy a car." And so it's like the opposite is kind of what we're talking about, right? Like resisting, forcing gets you the opposite result. I mean, is that kind of what we're talking about? Or are you talking about something different?
Well, no, that could be it as well. I mean, resistance, yes. Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Well, I didn't know if that's what you're talking about, but that's what I was thinking. And just how, you know, I try not to bring it up all the time because I bring it up too much. But to me, I feel like another reason that I've kind of bought into your like maybe she's right with this resistance thing is because I believe in determinism. And if you believe in determinism, then why are you trying to change the outcome of what's already going to happen?
Yeah.
So, and if anybody is listening, basically determinism is destiny. It's when I wake up tomorrow, my day's already figured out. It's already known. And that's what I believe in. And we could do like a whole podcast on determinism. I don't know if you'd be interested in that, but it's basically like if destiny is figured out, if your future is figured out, then why are you forcing? Why are you stressing? Why don't you just show up, be in the moment, see what that moment has? If that moment means you're working, then you work. If that moment means you're sleeping, you're sleeping. Like you're just here. You're just doing whatever. And
Well, another thing too is what is the reaction or the resistance giving you? Because to me, resistance is probably possibly causing you illness, stress, anxiety, discomfort.
yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't think about like so if you're that used car salesman and you're pushing the sale, but you're also doing a bunch of things to yourself, and that's a pretty good point.
Yeah, putting a pressure on yourself. And that's not to say that you can't have goals, but you can most certainly have goals and not like be out of balance with yourself and resist just your natural being.
Well, so that's why this is also so much for me to deal with is because I have always had the mentality that you work your ass off. You work your ass off and you make things happen. You force things. You like I've always said, like I get a square block and I just get a big enough hammer until it goes through that round hole. And if it doesn't go through the round hole, I get a bigger hammer. And I will keep getting bigger and bigger hammers. And that's the way I've run my whole life. And the problem is that it does work.
Well, it does eventually.
It does
But
work.
it doesn't flow easily.
It doesn't flow. And your life feels difficult because it is.
Yeah.
So I've had a real hard time giving that up, thinking because I've attached myself to this thought of like you have to make things happen. You have to go. You have to do this. And I've attached myself to that so much. And I can't tell you how many people I've preached that to, because that's the hardest thing about this whole idea is there's still balance. And it's so hard for me to imagine balance because you can't just go from like, I'm going to force everything, I'm going to make things happen to like, hey man, looks like I'm going to sleep in this week. I'm going to like take this whole month off because it's just not resisting. Like you can't go there either.
No, you can't.
Because that's the problem is I feel like most people go there and then you go, well,
Yeah,
you're having a hard time in life because you're not doing shit.
we're not talking about not taking action.
But it's still both ends of the spectrum, forcing and whatever you want to call it, laziness or whatever you want to call it. And it's to me, it's like I either want to be on this end or I want to be on this end. Yeah. I have a real hard time finding center on this. So, and I feel like that's actually my struggle right now. And I feel like I'm like leaning way over, probably because I'm used to being over here so much that like coming over to here feels like I'm lazy. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I'm way over here when I'm probably actually like still on
Well,
the
change
center.
is uncomfortable.
It's trusting. I have
Yeah.
a hard time with.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose everything because I've got this new mentality. Everything's gone. Like I'm bankrupt. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. I feel like I just lost everything. It's like I'm fucked. Now we're homeless.
Mm, mm.
You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. It
No,
feels
I
like
do.
it
Yes,
feels
I
like it's
do
over.
know what you mean.
Yeah, I just became a lazy homeless guy.
Yeah.
So it's
It's still new.
yeah. So it is trusting, and it's hard.
But that's the next part, which is basically surrendering that. It's okay to have that feeling, but just surrendering it. Like, don't fight it, but you don't have to.
Well, I actually like the uncomfortableness. I like the exploring of it. And if it doesn't work out, hey, let's go right back. Let's force everything. I mean, like if you do end up going homeless, like I can always go back. I can
Of
always
course you
think this is a
can.
mistake and go back. Um, what was I just thinking about though? I just had a thought. I
The
don't.
thought escaped you.
Yeah, I was thinking about just forcing things, but oh, I was just gonna say something like I enjoy like one time I had this thought with you, and I was thinking about how your brain won't allow you to think about things, and I like thinking about those things to kind of tell my brain like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not playing these games. I'm gonna think about whatever I want to think about. But that's kind of for me. That's a thought. Is like my brain goes, we're not going to think about not forcing things. We're not, because we're not going to allow this, and we're not going to, because you're going to be homeless. And so I enjoy going like, no, in fact, not only let's think about it, let's experience it. Like, let's get uncomfortable. And so I think that's half of what I like, but it's even, so I've been back in business for a year, but before that, we took like 2 years. Did you take 2 years with me?
Mm-mm.
Just a year?
Mhm.
But I took 2 years, right? Didn't I take 2 years? I don't know. Anyway, I think I took about like 2 years off working. I sold my old business. So I had a little bit of money to live on. And I just took 2 years off and I didn't work. I didn't make money. And that was also uncomfortable. That was the same thing. And I think most people wouldn't be able to do that. Well, actually, there's two kinds of people. There's people that can do that and people that
Yeah,
can't do that.
yeah, for sure.
But I think there's a lot of people, if you want to call them type A personalities, that are like, you don't do that. Like and so that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it, is just to be like, fuck it. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Let's lose it all. Let's see what this feeling feels like. And it was, man, that was a magic time that we spent together. We just went to the mall and drank coffee like every day at like 2 p.m. because we didn't get out of bed till 11.
It was pretty magical.
But it was so hedonistic and just lazy and
I mean, yes and no. We still were working out and
yeah.
yeah.
But I had a hard time paying bills, which took like 15 minutes. I couldn't, like, taking out trash became hard.
I didn't go through some of that. Like
I did.
yeah.
Everything was twice as hard. But point is it was a hard thing for me to even do. Like, I sold my business and I remember going like, okay, business plan. Let's go. Let's do this. And I don't know if you remember, but right when I sold my business, I was off and running,
Yeah,
doing other shit.
no.
Like, I was
I
all over
do
the
remember.
place.
Yeah.
I was all over the place, like trying to start shit up. And then I just kind of went, oh, like, let's not do this. So I don't know. I think that's all part of being in the system for me. It's all part of control.
Yeah.
And it's not letting go. It's just, I don't know. So it's interesting. Not. I mean, like, what other examples do you have for resisting then? Because it sounds like you're more like emotional.
Resistance, I mean, it can apply to so many areas of your life, but yeah, I find it easier to explain that way. Like, if you feel this feeling inside of you and it doesn't feel good, it's likely resistance. And if you observe the feeling, allow it, and then let it go off into the universe. But yeah, also, I thought your thing, I know exactly what you were talking about, and I wish I could remember our conversation when I said something to you and like it clicked immediately what I said, and I can't remember what I said to you about the focusing, what you focus on comes to you. I said something to you and you like understood it immediately, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think this is like I've just, like I said, started dabbling in it, but I still do find it dangerous. I find it super dangerous because I feel like it's so easy to go to that end of the spectrum and then all of a sudden you're a loser. I feel like that's, we talk about the devil or the subconscious in your head, and it feels like it's like, hey Carol, like how's your diet going? You're pretty good, right? You can have some ice cream now.
I
Like
think
it's this. There's always this pull to be lazy and to like eat wrong and do all the wrong things.
I think this is also a belief that you have that you could reframe, because I don't think that that it's really possible for I don't think it's possible for me to become a lazy person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, those 2 years I'm talking about where I didn't work, like there was a lot of laziness.
I didn't want to stay there forever.
Oh, I would. I think maybe that's what scares me so much is I know that it's a very pleasurable place to be.
Yeah, I can't stay there forever. I don't want to stay there forever.
See, but the difference with me is I don't want to be lazy in terms of like I don't want to play video games, I don't want to watch movies, but I do want to sit on the deck in the summer
Yeah,
and
that's
like have a
lovely.
drink and like go down to the river and chill at the river, and then like I would like to go on vacations. And so like I guess my version of laziness is not a typical one, but it's still like a very like indulging. Like I want to indulge. Like there's a huge pull to enjoy. Like that's why I have a hard time in the mornings. I think is because I'm pretty interested in hydroponics right now and growing. Like I don't really want to do this thing called work. It's not interesting. I'm not. I won't do
Yeah, I
that.
think you're enjoying your hobby though. I think
No, that's what I'm saying. I like doing what I want to do, and that doesn't pay the bills sometimes.
yeah,
So that's why it's very tempting and like why it's scary for me to go there.
I get it.
I mean, it's kind of like I think a lot of it too is how a grown adult will have the nightmare of being in their high school class naked. It's just like something that like gets ingrained in people's heads. Like they're just all of a sudden in high school naked, and they're like, "How did I get here?" And it's just a thing. Mine was always I didn't go to school. I always like went to lunch, which turned into an all day. Like I just never came back
Yeah,
to school. And so I would have nightmares about not finishing school because I mean it wasn't that far off of a
me
thought.
too. I had the same nightmare.
Yeah, but I could probably still have that nightmare today because it's like that's the same thing I'm talking about is like if I just go to breakfast like one day, all of a sudden I miss the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm talking about. Is I'm not necessarily lazy. I just don't want to do a bunch of shit that I don't want to do, which I think a lot of people could relate to.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can relate to the high school thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean that was all crap that I don't want to belong in. Like, so I mean, but that's what happened. Is I indulged, and then I rode that fine line in high school where I didn't ever go.
Yeah, me too.
I missed a majority of the days, and I was just like, just figured out how to pass my classes. Is all I did, the minimums. You
I
know.
barely did that.
But I think that's what I still worry about. Is I still that's what I'm saying. I have that nightmare of being naked in class, but my nightmare is not being naked in class. My nightmare is just doing the minimums to get by because I don't want to do the rest of the crap. But like, so in college, I said, no crap. I'm never going to miss a single day. I'm not going to miss a single assignment. I'm just going to get in there and I'm going to get it done. And in many senses, it's so much easier to do that because now there's no temptation. There's no messing around. There's no stress. You know what I mean? So it's easier to go back to this end of the spectrum of forcing things rather than go over here and just chill and not do schoolwork.
Yeah.
So I think there's been some experiences in my life where it's like, but even that, what you're saying, like when we took those 2 years off and I can't pay my bills easily anymore, there's kind of some stress in there because you're not able to function. You know, so it's way easier to just go back to what's forcing. Forcing's way easier, but there's also some stress there too. So
Yeah, this is about a balance and finding that perfect balance of being kind to yourself, still taking action towards the goals you're trying to have, but emotionally being good to yourself. Or even if you're having shitty emotions, accepting them and just allowing them to be there. It's
yeah,
not fighting things.
well, I mean, it's like everything, right? Is a balance. But I think that's an interesting thing. Like I've talked to you about is, you know, for a while now, I've followed that Alex Hormozy guy on Instagram, and like I told you, like he's very like get it done, work hard, work 24 hours.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we were that way at his age.
Yeah, but that's his drug he's pushing is work hard. And you know, we've obviously heard of other people in life that are like, I don't pay attention to my family, I work. And it's like, well, dude, you got like $200 million in the bank. I think you could chill a little bit. But they don't, right? And so they ride on that end of the spectrum. They don't allow themselves over here. And we glorify it. We glorify that. We glorify working so hard and obsessing, and we don't glorify like, look at that guy. That guy doesn't have 200 million, but he has like 10 million, and he has a family that loves him, and he spends time with his family, and he's so well balanced. Like, who do you know that we glorify like that? Anybody? We glorify all these people that go to extremes.
Well, yeah, it's all part of being a slave. They want to glorify that because that's going to push you to stay in their system of slavery.
Well, it can be impressive to watch, like maybe like a Kobe Bryant works
It
so
is
hard.
impressive to watch. It's Alex Hormozy is impressive.
Yeah.
I really enjoy watching him. I think he's a very smart person, but he's also young and but he's also building an independence, I would say too. But maybe one day he'll chill. Maybe he won't. But
Yeah. It's all just interesting. And I say for me, I've never wanted an unlimited amount of money. I
I
just
don't
want
need it
independence.
because I don't really need a lot of things.
Yeah. But that's the funny part. And I think why I've let go in business is because things have just started trickling in and been so like money is on the lower end, but I have so much freedom and time and I'm not a slave.
Yeah.
And so I would rather lower my expenses and just like, I really want to just keep this like just money trickling in. I want to just stay here. I don't want to get busier. Because when I ran my business before, I remember this moment thinking like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like I'm making enough money to survive. But I can see what happened last business is I had this fear of like, well, what if I don't have money coming in anymore? What if this changes? And I'm like, I have to grow. I have to grow. I have to grow. And I just kept growing and growing to the point of like, it was insane. Like I could not handle it for years before I sold it. And that was not enjoyable. Like, yeah, I made a lot more money, but that is not how I want to live my life.
Yeah, what's the point at that?
Well, but here would be my advice. If you're in your 20s, get some shit done.
Yeah.
Work hard.
Yeah.
Work hard and invest that money so you can enjoy starting at like 40. Like make way too much money when you're 20, but don't spend any of it. Invest it and then live off that money so you can just cruise control from like 40, 45, 50 onward. Just super easy.
Yeah, I don't regret my working hard in my 20s. It's all part of that gratitude session in the morning.
But it's kind of like what we talked about too, like the rooster. Like as a man, I had so much energy and so much testosterone. I had to put that somewhere. And so working hard, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. It was but it was stressful. It was too much going on at the same time.
Yeah. I pushed it to where it was too much going on. Full-time job, school, kids. Like I wanted that. Like it was fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's interesting to look at what we got about that time. It's just interesting to look at everybody's takes on what's important. And like we talked about, I think most people will tell you it's important to succeed and go. I'm just not there anymore. I just want to survive and I just want to be happy. I just want to be in the moment.
yeah, I think it's okay that they want to be there, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody else does.
Yeah, I don't
If they
know.
find that fulfilling, then go for it.
Yeah.
Different things in life.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. All right. We got anything else to add? We'll try to cut her off at an hour here.
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay. Flirting with the Realities on Facebook, dabbling in that. Like I said, we're not on our phones, not really doing anything. So not a lot going on. We got this weekly podcast. We're on YouTube. If you want to like and subscribe to it, that's great. If you don't, I don't care. Do you care?
No, I want them to do whatever they want.
Yeah, just do whatever you want. I don't really subscribe to people. I don't really like videos. So if you don't do that with ours, I don't care. Just whatever, man. There's no pressure. If you want to watch us again next week, we'll be on because we enjoy doing this, and hopefully we bring some insight or entertainment or something to other people's lives.
I would hope so.
Yeah, or maybe it'd just be some like we talk about some videos for when we die or something, and our kids want to see us or something.
Yeah.
See what kind of crazy stuff we talked about. So YouTube, Flirting with Realities, Spotify, Flirting with Realities. You're probably watching or listening to this on both of those, so just click the channel or whatever you do on those things. And that's it. And this is the end to the video.
So impressed with your voice, babe.
Yeah, well, you get to do the singing introduction next time. I didn't tell you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Carol will be singing on the next one.
Yeah, that's great.